right, so now I'm starting to get like close to like where I was really wanting to go with this series is that so in the last video I was talking about how a lot of things like the real standpoint to accomplish something, to enjoy something, is to ask is the best way, because in the first place it's humble. So if we're going to start like in different traditions, they've talked about you lay the foundation in order to do something great. The foundation is very important. What better foundation than to humble oneself, that is to ask. Then also, once having done so, what is the next best step after starting the foundation to grow? Having asked is now in the best position and attitude, the best attitude to grow, but also the best position to grow was having asked in the first place. And what I want to say is sometimes but I also want to talk about how profound feet are. So a lot of people might say so they might say you have not because you ask not, and they'd also say actions speak louder than words. But where would you be to ask something if your feet hadn't first put you somewhere to ask something? So I think a lot of times when people are saying like the actions speak louder than words, the closest way to the maybe the most profound expression of action par excellence is the feet, because wherever you're standing at any point, wherever you're viewing this from, wherever your feet are, likely that represents, if you were to take all the things that have influenced you, inspired you, challenged you, demanded of you, your duties, your interests, your rigor. Okay, so say you have a person on deployment, right? So they go off to defend their nation, right? But you see, some people would say like the lifestyles of like people in the different services are really like the type of stuff that like fantasy books couldn't even come like like the whatever people have like for fantasies like would be rivaled by what like service members do, like like when congregating. That's what it's been said like that before. And then of the services, the Navy has been pointed out. I'm trying to remember who it was that said that. That's not my original thought, but it was it's been said that the Navy has some of the most the most stuff that would make a person bat an eye had been around the Navy. But then the other ones, but you take a person at a Navy, right? So you have, maybe you have some people at a bar. So the combination of the different things, the different economic rigors that they had, so maybe the strong suits and also the challenges that they had as a person and growing up with their education, but then also their values within that. So like the value of wanting to be productive, the value of wanting an education, the value of wanting to see the world, the value of wanting to protect the place that they come from, the value of wanting to protect the interests of the people that they come from, the value of wanting to protect the interests of people abroad that are affected by the interests of the people that they come from. Also, their interest in the same or the opposite sex, the interest in having fun, the the boredom of that lifestyle, the opportunity of that lifestyle, the great the fun of that lifestyle. All of that would amount to putting them at a particular bar at a particular moment to do what would give a person the reputation of making a person bat an eye, of doing what would make a person bat an eye. All of that can be appreciated in their footwork that would place them at a particular venue at a particular time. All that they have to, all that's oppressing them, all that's liberating them, all that's fun about their life, all that's hard about their life, all that can be appreciated in their footwork at any given moment. Is that we're exactly where we want to be, that we're exactly at the most of where we want to be and have to be and could be and would be and should be or shouldn't be. All that is appreciated, and our choice within all that, in our effort, in our sacrifice within all that, in our opportunity, in our fun, all that can be appreciated in our very footwork at any given moment. So that you would be in a position, in a place to ask a question had been the first and the real question. And then the enunciating of that is, so they say that according to Arthur Avalon, you have three forms of speech, and we're saying actions speak louder than words. So you have causal, no, sorry, causal, the cause of something; subtle, the most subtle, that is yet also profound and refined and potent degree of something; then the most gross, that is the blatant outward expression of that. All that that the I'm saying the footwork might have been the culmination of all that led up to and is prompted by and attended by a person's footwork at any given time. So our feet are very important. If you go in an environment and you see footwork, say you're going down the road and you see someone running while you're driving. You see someone running, whether they're running parallel to you, against you, or perpendicular, their very footwork at any given moment have severe, potentially life and death consequences for themselves and you witnessing their footwork. Should they run into traffic? Should they cause you to have to make a decision based on their footwork? Should anything inspire at all in life? The footwork would be your first tip off into the nature of what's going on, and how profound that is. Some people have talked. I haven't like so. If you can appreciate what would be terrifying about like things like what I talked about service members a little bit in this video, what are the most challenging but also potentially terrifying and traumatic things that a person in a lifestyle of service could experience? Likely what would be very traumatic about an engagement like that would be a combination of the vocalizing and the footwork that they would come across, even more so than the actual, like maybe than weaponry that they would encounter, because the weaponry is almost secondary to the footwork, and also the verbalizing, which is almost another degree of footwork. You could say that verbalizing is footwork. Like so when you're in an environment, the way that you engage that environment and are engaged by that environment is attended by and almost secondary to your verbalizing. The way someone would even think to approach you or not approach you, or approach you and not approach you, is going to be attended by how you're communicating and vocalizing at any given moment. So the vocalizing is a way of maneuvering intellectually and emotionally, but not isolated from the footwork, because it takes the footwork to get into a position of enunciating, but also enunciating it allows a person the opportunities in lifestyle that would teach them the personality and maybe the strengths in perception that would give them insight around their footwork. But I'm just saying, you can't isolate verbalizing and footwork, and you can't isolate that from outcome. So what would be truly daunting and terrifying about something really challenging and potentially traumatic would be the footwork that's involved in that, and also the verbalizing, which is another form and maybe a higher expression or a secondary expression of footwork. But then also you take something romantic in that a person would be engaging you, inviting you, accosting you, whatnot, at any given moment around you to have an experience had first been prompted by the footwork, and maybe the footwork might be actually what's more romantic, or even what might actually be romantic about romantic, more than the smiling, the fragrance, the gesture, whatnot, is actually the footwork. And so sometimes if you take people and you want to know the real relationship between people, or the real absence of relationship between people, it can be appreciated just in terms of watching the feet. How are people together what are their feet saying about themselves and one another, and themselves in relationship to one another, can be appreciated in the footwork. But so I wanted to say uh, uh, I just wanted to point that out. But another thing is that uh, but our feet though, our feet. I think that our but I want to keep going about the feet with that. But the feet are significant though. Also, is the feet are also significant in asking questions, which might be the standpoint in the first step, potentially the most important step in any initiative, endeavor. Winning, losing, success, failure might not be isolated from the first step, and just the stepping in general. Um, and what would be asked verbally, but also asked with the feet in the first place, is the feet are very significant.